I see it going. The Hake Report is live on Periscope and Mixer. I'm just going to wait until I see YouTube is online now. Nice. ND live. And sending data to Twitch. I forget. I need to check Twitch. Make sure that I'm going. What's up, Facebook? So, hey, guys. It is Thursday, April 23rd, 2020. And we're going to have a show. Get ready.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, what's up, guys? I am James Hake. This is the Hake Report, and thank you to Jesse Lee Peterson. You may see the Jesse Lee Peterson show here, radio show here on the mic, for allowing me to use your, your studio, and your worker, Joel, and Nicolas for answering the phones. And he says we are rolling on Twitch. Appreciate it. Thank you to Nicolas. And yes, I do see it is online. So, yeah, I stream on 6 platforms. Or should I say, I don't know. And then Jesse Lee Peterson only streams on 4 because Facebook considers him hate speech, because Facebook hates true speech. And so same with Twitch. But Twitch doesn't know about me yet. Right? And I am wearing my I Love Boomers t-shirt, brand new. I just received it. I ordered this as a sample, so it is not yet available, right? It's exclusive only to me. And it's a nice color, thank you. How does it look on camera, I wonder? Hopefully not as bright as the other t-shirts that look good in person, but on camera they look a little, where's this person coming from? But I look like the sun. Cool. What's up to, I saw a Mixer message. What's up? Thank you, Thunder Pigeon, for following. Yeah, I like Jesse to be streaming on Mixer, even if we don't have a lot of followers there yet, just so that we, you never know what may happen. A lot of these oppressive, SJW listening, stupid, America hating, white people hating, truth hating platforms, actually including Mixer sometimes, according to their TOS, ban people sometimes. And it's so ridiculous. But whatever. That's the times we live in. People hate freedom. But I'll make this for sale, by the way, later. All right, I'll upload it onto the Teespring platform, teespring.com/stores/the Hake Report. I do have other designs, by the way. Very nice color, says Bible Go-To Guy. You and Donald Trump are orange today. Nice. Right on. So, by the way, speaking of Jesse Lee Peterson, make sure, if you're interested, if you think you may benefit from it, Jesse Lee Peterson's nonprofit Bond offers counseling by phone, by Skype, or in person. Not currently in person right now because we're respecting the president's requests to not be open for business to the public like that at this time. But for individuals, couples, and or families, you can call 800-411-BOND, 1-800-411-2663 to request it. If you're overseas, you might have to dial a 1 or 2 zeros and 1 or 2 ones before that, something like that. If you're in England or Australia or New Zealand or Norway or Sweden or whatever, people call from around the world. Thailand, Taiwan, Hong Kong, everywhere. It's cool. Russia. And you can do it. You can set it up. Skype or phone counseling. Just call in to the office. when the office number is 800-411-BOND, or send an email through Bond, rebuildingtheman.com/counseling, or send an email, probably front desk at bondinfo.org. This is the most direct. Front desk at bondinfo.org. And if you say you can't call or something like that, you haven't figured out how to dial international yet, you can Google it, but it does require some payment, even through Skype. People can call Skype to our phone number. People do it, but they have to pay a Skype a certain amount. So, just a side note, I am going to get to your calls, 888-775-3773. I was reading Hake News as I do on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I have photographs of this Dowd woman, Patricia Dowd, who died. As Jesse Lee Peterson says, may her soul rest in peace, right? This is a photo that Joelle is showing you guys from Facebook, from this woman's Facebook. Patricia Dowd. Supposedly she was healthy. To me, the first COVID-19 death was actually a quote-unquote healthy. This is from Daily Mail and CNN and Los Angeles Times. 57-year-old California woman from the Bay Area who liked to travel the world a lot, who died suddenly at home after complaining of flu-like symptoms, 3 weeks before the first reported fatality. February 6th, at home, days after complaining of flu-like symptoms. She appeared to have recovered, by the way, but was found dead in her home just 2 hours after she had corresponded with a colleague online, because she was working from home sick. Oh, did my stream cut out?
Not over here.
Yeah, it cut out on my on Periscope. Must have cut out briefly and then came back. Sorry about that, guys. I am back on Periscope. Cut out and then came back, and then I'm back offline on Twitch or something. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I might have cut out briefly. Yeah, apparently so. Just FYI. Have Bill look into it. Me telling the people like a boss, right? So, this woman, though, I was reading about her. She's from the Bay Area. That's a heavily Asian population. And she was a world traveler. She planned to travel to China later in the year. So, did she get it from one of the Asians who didn't die from it? I don't know. And, her family played up how she's healthy, exercised, watched what she ate. She was a little overweight, but like I said, she didn't look like she was going to be one to die from even this coronavirus thing. You didn't really expect that. So, just wanted to share that with you. I just happened to come across this. I subscribe to these news emails. Early in the morning, I receive these emails from liberal. Oh, see, it cut out again. Did you purposely do that?
No, I just turned it back on.
Oh, so it cut out and then you turned it back on? Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, to Periscope. We keep on cutting out. This is not good. Can you guys hear me? Are you guys hearing me fine? Offline, says somebody. Come on, man. This stream is cutting, Hake, says Jib Jab. Stream in and out. Buffering off air again. Boomer tech, right? You can't stop loving the boomers. Can you hear me, guys? I'm sorry, we have boomer tech going on. And I can't even blame boomer tech. It's more like black tech. Is that unfair? I don't know. Okay, now we're back. I'm sorry, guys. Trolling Jones, back at it. Yeah, Marcus Jones gets banned, and then he keeps on coming back. I don't know if he's banned from any of my platforms, but Hake is a nerd who escaped from the band Nickelback. Yeah, so they're going to be looking into it. And this is partly why I'm not going 2 hours yet, guys, because I want to give them that extra hour to be looking into these ongoing technical issues, guys. Black tech. The channel is getting Owen Benjamined. It's happening to me on YouTube too, says somebody on D Live. Yeah, who knows? But I think there's a lot going on with this coronavirus thing. Seems like everybody's having technical problems nowadays. And I think it's partly, places like YouTube, they have taken a dive in the quality of the user experience of their website. They make bad decisions, such as obnoxious decisions, such as in the live chat when you're on YouTube. This is just a side note. When you're on YouTube and you're in the live chat and you see a chatter say something interesting, that's interesting. Let me see what this guy's channel looks like or gal's channel looks like. You click on them or you tap on their whatever picture, avatar, and up come options block. No, I don't want to block. Delete comment or, different things. But no, you cannot look at their channel. You can't go to channel. Ridiculous, YouTube. You guys hate us? Apparently. I think it's that female controlling people mindset. And oh my gosh, I was by the way, I was watching Asmodee's show yesterday. If it cuts out again, we will change to another file. Thank you, Joel. I was watching Asmodee's show today. And Robert on Facebook, I love boomers. Hake is so dumb. Thank you, Robert. I was watching Asmodee's show, and I was telling you guys about this insane female mindset, angry, trying to control people when you don't have proper authority. You don't have natural authority. Kind of like these liberals are, meddling and having their fingers micromanaging our lives, right? You can't go to work. You can't be open to business. You're not social distancing enough and all that stuff. We need to destroy your business so that we can rebuild America in our image. Thank you, AOC, Alexandria Cortez. Well, he played this clip of this mall cop lady just screaming at people for for video recording some interesting incident. And then she became the even more interesting incident, just screaming at people. You have to put your phone down and you have to delete that photograph and all that stuff. And what does she get as a reward? Her recording of her going viral, getting into fights with another woman there. Crazy. But that's that. People don't have, a lot of people, especially women and liberals and just control freakish people anyways, don't have that natural authority that just commands respect. And they try to enforce something that isn't even right or real. And it's messing up the country for the rest of us, right? What a mess. Let me see what some of the super chats are saying. Mo Betta Jankum gave a diamond. Thank you, man. COVID vials from Tel Aviv to Harvard to Wuhan. So he says, might be, I don't know. Mo Betta Jankum gave a diamond. DOJ arrested vial movers. And vial, they don't mean vial as in disgusting, but vial as in little containers of virus, I guess. Media forgot. I hadn't heard that, but I'm just interpreting what he's saying. Hot Computer Smell says, can't tell if it's my crappy Wi-Fi or the stream. Maybe it's a mixture of both, but we did have mess-ups on the stream, Hot Computer Smell. Appreciate the support. What a mess! But right now, I think it's okay. Jib Jab was waiting for it. Thank you. And Jib Jab, producer chair on set. And he says, boomer stream. Yeah. You know, the reason I have this shirt, I love boomers. Well, for one, Jesse Lee Peterson's a boomer. And there are a lot of white boomers, old-time conservatives, that Christians, Tea Party patriots, old white people that just have a little bit of that common sense. Maybe they didn't raise their children right. Maybe they went too far with the politics thing or not enough with the politics thing. They're imperfect people, but you got to love them. And you can blame a lot of the, there's a whole lot of degeneracy that grew up along with the boomers. What did the parents of the boomers do wrong that the boomers came out like they did? And then Gen X, and then Gen Y, and then Gen Z. We all got our issues. You got to have love for everybody. And then you can join forces with the boomers where they're right and disagree where they're wrong. Or hash it out if you guys are disagreeing and figure out who's right, I guess. I don't know if you can figure out who's right. But there's a lot of boomer hatred among the left and the right, right? And that's why it's right versus wrong. What's right versus what's wrong. And so that's why I like this shirt. All old boomers just gotta die. That's a reference to Oprah Winfrey saying there's a whole generations of, and she's implying white people, born and bred and marinated in racism. Oh, racist. And they just have to die. Jesse always plays that clip. Joel probably has it handy. You don't have to play it, though. Yeah, and it is gross. And it's kind of like, because she's full of hate. She's telling a lie. But it's kind of like how God allowed the generations of, Israelites who were obstinate to just die in the desert, and their kids grew up and started a new generation, and then they could enter the promised land. That's what God did. But Oprah is the imitation God. She's fake. She's Satan. I mean, a daughter, right? Daughter of Satan. But that kind of mindset. That's what I mean. Interesting. That's racist says, our rights are being taken away. Dinesh called it. Yeah. Say what you will of Dinesh. He's right about that, right? That's racist gave a diamond. JLP's guest said that the drop in the deaths is because our rights are being taken away. I think that's may be what he's saying. And, that's so ridiculous, too. I remember when Obama was president, control freak Obama, right? Socialist, commie, anti-white, anti-American, anti-Christian. Obama. They were talking about, and we had this crazy recession, right? Supposed recession. And it probably was real. But, the media likes to hype things and blame things on people that aren't necessarily completely to blame and ignore the blame on themselves and everybody that they support, meaning the Democrats and other evil people. Well, I remember the media and the Democrats and the rhinos sometimes talking about how some jobs were saved, right? Something along the lines that jobs were saved. And how do you know that jobs were saved? It's kind of like this whole lives were saved by us supposedly quarantining. And they had all these crazy numbers. They predicted 1 million to 2 million deaths, and then 100,000 to 250,000, and then we'll see what happens, right? Right now, I don't know if it's still at 45,000 deaths in the United States, or it's probably more by now, supposedly linked to this coronavirus thing. And, it isn't, if that story about that woman that I told you about, that kind of fat, healthy woman whom I showed you, Patricia Dowd, if that story is true, it's pretty crazy to be dying from that, like I said. But we don't know that this quarantining thing is really stopping the spread. We don't know. Let's be honest, right? Science is about experimenting and observing the results, and you speculate as to what was the cause of the results. But they don't know. Let's be honest. Right? I mean, does it make sense? Because the Democrats, it seems like the Democrat states are not wanting to open back up. I personally believe that they take joy in destroying people's businesses. Yes, they make money off of the money makers, right? But they mostly have the big time money makers making the money and supporting them. By the big time money makers, I mean like rich, like Hollywood. Yeah, union heads anyways. To a point, they're losing the unions because they're so divorced from nationalism, right? And other like major billionaire, I almost said trillionaire. There's probably not a trillionaire alive, right? Big time money makers, Amazon and all that mess. But they don't care about small businesses, and they want to, oppress and overregulate and hyperregulate and destroy the economy and rebuild it up in their image. That is the socialism thing. That's why I love the boomers, because there is this dismissive nature about nationalist socialism being okay, right? It's only globalist socialism that we don't like. And I'm not positive that that's correct, because you're still you're still surrendering to people who are far away from you, who can meddle and control you, and they don't have to face you. Most of these people who are our employees, these elected officials, they work for us, but then now they're our supposed masters, is what they're acting like. Hopefully that's making sense. Yes, this, in the hour, I guess it was 2 hours ago, Jesse Lee Peterson was interviewing Stefan Molyneux, who's an atheist, but like he's pretty pro-Christian for an atheist, right? And Buddy Van Sigret, given Ninja Genie, said, I was surprised when Stefan Molyneux said his mom hit him. Did your parents hit you? White folks usually don't do that mess. I got the wooden spoon, whoopsh, whoopsh, spanks. I got spanked. I got spanked with a brush. That one hurt, kind of. The wooden spoon stung. And just hands. That kind of hurt, too. Those are the ones that I remember. But I wouldn't call I would call those spanked. But friends of mine, they were beaten. With branches or whatever. And it was sometimes by their uncles. Like I have friends from Hong Kong who came to America, and then their uncles that they lived with, right? It was a whole bunch, packed like sardines in a house, right? Until they could move out and buy other houses. Boom, boom, just hit them. Beat them. Joel says, my uncle beat his kids with the blind stick. Wow. What, the one with the red tip?
The one, I don't know, but I know the one that with the that you roll, open and close the blinds.
Oh,
with.
that one. Okay,
And
the blinds.
Yeah, like and then it used to be that long white stick that's flimsy.
Right.
I used to witness that.
That seems like that would sting. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, and some people are against spanking, and I don't begrudge them that really necessarily. But the Bible does say, spare the rod, spoil the child, something along those lines. The man who spares the rod hates his son. And I don't know, maybe it's a metaphor for at least disciplining in some way, enforcing rules, right? I don't know. It's funny. I don't know if I should mod Robert. I'm looking. It looks like Robert over on Facebook is fighting with the other people. Ladies on Facebook, watching me on Facebook, just don't engage him if he's obnoxious. Just don't engage him. Anyway, this kind of reminds me of when I'm commenting on drama that's going on in the live chat, I think. And it reminds me of when I was growing up. The brothers and siblings and friends would annoy each other, and you're supposed to just ignore him. Just ignore him. But it's so tempting not to ignore the person who's trolling for attention. and just egging you on and stuff like that. But yeah, you can ignore. Marcus Jones Stinks. Thank you for changing your name, man. Says you should watch George Carlin on baby boomers. Interesting. He was an interesting person. He was a George Carlin. Are you familiar, Joel? George Carlin was a pretty funny comedian. I think he might have been an atheist. He was not necessarily politically correct. Sometimes he told the truth or factual stuff, made factual observations about life and society. Appreciate that tip. Alejandro Davila, hate the man. Thank you. David from Kentucky, I love being a boomer, LOL. David, right on. And I respect you, David. I know we have our disagreements at times. Appreciate that, man. Sion says, Jesse is not a boomer, LOL. Earl is. Yeah, Jesse calls himself millennial. He's like, I'm a millennial. David says, home and school, belt and board. Amazing. So home, you got the belt, whoosh, and at school, you got paddled with the board. Man, I wonder if we should bring that back. Maybe not. You know, I listen to a lot of people, and I have a lot of people in my chat. I generally support the police, right? And there are a lot of people, though, nowadays with a false authority. And there's female cops, too. And then there's a lot of POC cops. And then there's a lot of white cops who are not exactly right. Like, as society goes down, like families and men in general, of course, there are going to be a little bit of cops who are out of control. And they have this false ego thing. They have that false authority. But you still have to maintain composure and you be right, whether or not they are. That way you stay out of unnecessary trouble. Let me get to some calls and then get more into this stuff. Hopefully I can get into more about Andrew Cuomo. I started to tell you he's a simp for his daughter, which is not exact. It sounds wrong, right? I should call it a weak beta for his daughter. And you know what do I know, right? I'm not a father, but he is what he is. It doesn't change the fact that he is, right? And Washington Post, of course, finds nothing wrong with it. They find it so cute, I guess. Washington Post being that far left, kill America in darkness outlet, owned by the same guy who owns Amazon, which banned our great Confederate battle flags, American history, banned book burners, and many other things. They banned, including Cernovich's movie Hoaxed, documentary about fake news. And I have a tip from Joelle about Gretchen Whitmer being a simp for the blacks, fake black victimhood, that is. Thank you, Joelle, for that tip. Gretchen Whitmer being the Democrat female, youngish looking, but might have had work done on her face and doesn't look right anymore. It's a shame. Governor of Michigan. And talk about fake authority, right? False sense of authority. And I did include photographs. Shout out to Reuters. You know, you are far left, but you take good pictures. And AP, Associated Press, far left, but you get sometimes semi-decent factual information. And you have a big organization, so you can have photographers take cool pictures. Thank you. Of educated liberal healthcare workers. I'm assuming they're liberals. Thinking that they know better than older, wiser people, maybe. Or maybe not so wise. I don't know. Counter-protesting against the people who are protesting to allow us to come back to work. And I don't know, maybe these people are wrong. But I don't think that these healthcare workers are right either. And it's just kind of stirring a lot of hatred between the so-called educated and the less educated, or the people who want common sense, want to open back up the economy. Let people back to work. I mean, it shouldn't even be let people. We're supposed to have the freedom to work, but... And yes, AOC work is freedom. There was a clip that was played on the Jesse Lee Peterson show that this Cortez woman with Porto Rican Jesse Lee Peterson tweeted that she needs to be deported. But anyways, Puerto Rican blood, and she's Sotsi. Sotsi being, Glotzi. She's a Glotzi, globalist socialist, right? She hates people working and having their own freedom. Let me get to Emmanuel, though, out of Ontario, Canada. Emmanuel, I remember talking to
What
you
up?
vaguely. What's up? Nice to hear from you
How's
again.
it going, man?
Going fine.
Sweet. Yeah, you remember me. Sweet.
I
guess,
remember talking to you, but I don't
Yeah,
remember the conversation.
My my mom actually apparently called you and had a huff and a puff with you.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. I told her to look up in the Bible where 1 John chapter 3, where it says no one who is born of God can continue to sin. And I don't know. I haven't heard back from her since, but
Yeah,
because I was talking about
she got
I
all
think
defensive.
she's Catholic, and you were telling me about how she's kind of towing this, oh, I'm not perfect, I'm never going to be perfect.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
excusing her failures as a mother, which all
Yeah, so
faith
it's
mothers do.
Interestingly enough, this brings me to my question.
Okay.
So a lot of Christians believe that to get to God, you have to go through Jesus. So my question is, what does it mean to give your life to Jesus, if that's true? And is it possible to get to God? Is that the only way to get back to God is through Jesus? And if so, why and how do you do that?
Okay. The short answer is I don't know.
Okay.
I've read it myself and never, I'd believe, truly understood it. But I believe it's true, right? I was raised this way. I read it in the Bible. It's a fact. But I don't really understand it for myself, so I don't know the answer to it.
Right.
And I haven't ever heard, honestly, in the Bible, read it. I've heard it in churches, right? This give your life to God, or surrender your life to Christ stuff.
Well, the only way to the Father is through the Son. That's the thing.
Yeah, that part I do know. That part I know is in the Bible. But there's a lot of this Christianese language, churchy language about surrender your life to Christ or give your life. And I'm not sure that's even, I think that's just...
Yeah, I don't know about that either, man.
I think that's
feel like
drama language.
something
rather
up with that. Like something doesn't seem right with it.
Mhm.
So, anyways, yeah. So I checked out Jesse's silent prayer.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's basically what a lot of people would refer to as meditation.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you thinking about that? I mean, because meditation it's basically what he says in the silent prayer is to let go of your thoughts and to be present in the now.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to put out what the silent prayer is, but when I heard that, it was like, wow, this is basically meditation, and it was interesting.
I just leave that as an I don't know, because a lot of people jump to strange conclusions that aren't true about it. So when in doubt, just leave it alone. Leave it as an I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, you cracked me up earlier with you calling boomers Tea Party pioneers.
Oh yeah, the Tea Party Patriots.
That's amazing. Yeah. So the other thing, what's your opinion on liberals calling Trump claiming that he's pure ego and he's a sociopath with no empathy? What do you think about that?
I think, okay, first of all, empathy is a liberal word, and so that's fine. I think he does have empathy though, and that is maybe a failure on his part, but most of us do have empathy, meaning we put ourselves in others' shoes and we feel their pain, and it's so phony. But,
right. So I said to somebody,
I think they're guilty of what they're accusing him of. They're the ones full of ego. I don't think that he has much of. I mean, he has an ego, I guess, but I don't see him as. I see him as a pretty humble person, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, I think they're the ones with the ego.
Because a lot of people see the complete opposite.
Right. I know, that's true, and he does. I've even a man that I respect, who I learned a lot of my politics, at least early on, and morality from. he referred to Trump as somewhat of a narcissist, but yet he really supports him now. And he says, "Oh, I think you were right about Trump." And everybody who's going up against him are just shrimps. He said this, I think, at the beginning of the threats of
I
impeachment.
like to eat shrimps. I don't know about you.
Right. Yeah, I do too, even though the Bible says not to, supposedly.
Okay.
But I think that, I don't know. What were you saying? I forget.
It was basically about Trump being pure ego. But,
Oh,
so
yeah.
basically,
No, I mean, you have to, I think that smart people, and there's a false version of pride that people mistake for pride when you're promoting yourself and you're advocating on behalf of yourself. And that's something that you should do, especially if you're like running for president or trying to get the truth out or defend yourself. And that's not pride. He's just putting the truth out about himself. The truth is, his honest opinion as he sees it in some cases. Sometimes it may not be the exact truth, but most of the time he's telling the truth. And the media is not promoting the truth about him. They promote lies about him. And then and
everybody believes the lies. It's
right.
insane.
Yep. Not everybody, but a lot of people.
A lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, I don't see him.
Like a larger percentage of the population is believing the lie. I don't know.
I think everybody who calls him egotistical is himself or herself egotistical. The accusers are the ones who are guilty. And he may, I don't know. But for sure they are.
I think that if you're the president of the country, you can't be like, so I thought of it like this. It's like, when you go to the doctor and like the doctor's treating you and they can't be super empathetic because they got other people to help. They have more other things to do.
Yep.
And then people will be offended by that. But it's like, he's the president of the country. Like, you can only be so empathetic. Like, you're making moves. Like, you're under like this massive pressure, right? Yeah,
he's a man doing a man's job in a fairly manly way. There's exceptions where you can say, "Oh, that's kind of female, man. You're making too many exceptions for the immigrants and the blacks and the criminals in jail and stuff," because he is being a little maybe more nice than some of us would want, and nice not in a good way maybe, but he's the man for the job. Really, I mean, there's nobody else. There's nobody else who. Some people may have. Like better opinions, maybe.
So I've been watching some stuff on Bernie Sanders, and man, he just like seems like a chill guy, but he just seemed like such a pushover. Like
right, he is total. And
I saw him on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and it was just like he looked like I don't know. There's just this vibe about him. He's just kind of like
right,
no, whatever.
Yeah, yep, not a man. That's for sure.
No, just too laid back to be running the show, I think.
Yeah. All those Bernie beats Trump bumper stickers that I see around my neighborhood are so ridiculous. He couldn't even beat Joe Biden. He's not going to beat. He wouldn't have beaten Trump. So.
Yeah, Biden's interesting character. I'll tell you.
It's nice to hear from you, Emmanuel. I appreciate you calling.
Yeah. Yeah, man. God bless if you got to let him go. And,
right on. Take care, man.
Keep the faith.
All right, you too. And stand up to your mother.
Yeah.
All right, take care. Let me get to, speaking of Canada, Thomas out of Montreal, Canada. Nice name. Thomas, what's up? Going fine.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about Andrew Cuomo. I know
Thomas, your phone's messed up. Make sure you're on regular phone.
Can you hear me now?
You're kind of in and out. Go for it. Let me see if you get better.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to give you a reason why Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo are so feminine.
Show the headline of Andrew Cuomo, and you can zoom in on his pic, too. Okay, go for it. Chris Cuomo being the CNN guy.
Don't zoom in on his chest, though. Don't zoom in on his chest, though.
Yeah. Fortunately, his chest is covered up. He has a little bit of, what is it called? Anyways, yeah.
He has nipple piercings, by the way, huh?
Chris, I wouldn't be surprised.
Andrew.
Andrew? Yikes.
Yep.
TMI.
So basically the story is Andrew Cuomo's father was running for a mayor
Yeah.
in 1982, and their slogan was against what was his name? Koch?
I don't
Something
know.
like that. Anyways, in New York, and the slogan was vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
Wow. Interesting.
So then they got like cursed because they were like, I'm not a homo, because of the culture now. They probably got pressured of feeling like their dad was like a evil guy for saying that. So they're like, I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a homophobe.
Right.
So now they're cursed with femininity, and because they want to prove otherwise. You know? You see Chris Cuomo like defending LGBT, wears like stupid phony T-shirts, like whatever. And Andrew Cuomo with nipple piercings. it's just self-evident. That's the reason.
True.
Yep.
So Andrew Cuomo, the backstory of what that headline was that I was showing you, it says something along the lines of Governor Cuomo of New York offers advice to fathers as if anybody should be taking advice from a male Democrat, a grown male Democrat. The answer has to be, I like the boyfriend. And because his daughter, who's 25, Mariah something Cuomo, brought her boyfriend, and at 25, I guess it's a grown adult boyfriend, whatever, but to home and stuff like that. And so he's, in order to keep the peace and so that his daughter doesn't turn away from him, he has to pretend to like the boyfriend, whether he likes him or not.
Weak.
Yeah. And it's like a ha-ha joke, funny. Yeah, the father has no real authority, and the daughter's not going to respect him, so he just has to go along with whatever she goes.
Man.
So pathetic,
but
right?
It comes back to Jesse's point. Like, if you're going to hate your father, like, for example, them hating their father for saying, vote for Cuomo, not the homo.
Yeah.
You'll become a mess.
Yep. True.
You just have to accept him. Like, even if you can say he's phony, you can say he's all that, but just don't try to like deny it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. And it's kind of like this boomers thing. The boomers are a mess, yes, but you can't hate them because you're gonna either just do the opposite extreme or you're gonna be kind of like them. A lot of the there's Jew critics and Jew haters, right? The Jew haters act a lot like the Jews that they hate. They are subversive. They are victim-minded. They accuse you of thinking things that you're not even thinking, and
that's so true.
They became what they hate, and it reminds me of.
Man.
There's a lot of so-called ex-extremists, right? Supposed people who used to be alt-right or they used to be white nationalists, and then they turned into a bunch of soft liberal cucks, betraying America and white people and God and men, and they're total like simps for the left. And it reminds me of what you described with the Cuomo boys, and they do act like boys even though they're grown adult males.
Yeah, subversive to a point where when Jesse asked a question, I just thought about that. When Jean-François Gariepi came on the show, he was subversive to a point where he couldn't answer a straight question.
Oh, yeah.
Where when asking for, you like the Jews, it's exactly that. He's trying to be a snake just like the Jews. I'm just honest about him.
You talk about JF?
Jews, but I don't hate them. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about JF?
Yeah.
Gariepi, Jean-François.
Gariepi.
I didn't think of him as a snake. I just thought of him as an intellectual who couldn't answer the question because he's an intellectual. But you might be right. I mean, I guess intellectuals are snakes. Whether if you come down to it, yeah, it was a snake. He's like, "Do you love them? I try to love them, but it's like walking on hot coals."
Yeah, that's just like a Jew saying, like, "How are you making money out of porn? And is it a bad thing?" Well, it's not too bad, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways,
I appreciate it, Thomas. Nice to hear from you, man.
All right, bye.
Good call. Take care. I'm going to get to Justin, but let me... So, did you guys get the story about Andrew Cuomo? What a mess. And here's for Gretchen Whitmer. And I don't know what she is, if she's a real white or woman or whatever, but she's definitely not a Christian. There was this immediate release, and I don't know how Joel got this tip, but it was a press release from the governor's office of Michigan. Man, Michigan, what happened to you? How far have you fallen that you elected this woman to be with a blended family, meaning she has stepkids and her husband has stepkids, to be your governor? Lansing, Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer today signed, this is the evil Gretchen. There's the good Gretchen. That's Bub's wife. Creating the Michigan Coronavirus Task Force for racial disparities, on racial disparities. And, you know, the news came out that African Americans represent 13.6% of Michigan's population. They represent a staggering 40% of the deaths from COVID-19. That's interesting, because 13% is roughly what their national population share is too, blacks. And yet they're also a staggering 40% of cop killers. Just a little number that remained in my head because I have a memory that I have an intellectual type of memory, right? They're 13% of the population, but 40% of cop killers, right? Interesting, just an interesting side note. The task force will act in an advisory capacity to the governor and study the causes of racial disparities in the impact of COVID-19 and recommend actions to address such disparities and the historical and systemic inequalities that underlie them. Typical nonsense mess, right? So disgusting. And that's that being a simp for black victimhood, and which means to be an enemy of black people. Just like the Jew victim promoters are enemies of Jewish people. Like the ADL, think about it. The ADL, Anti-Defamation League, purports to stand against defamation of Jewish people, right? And yet, their constant, I've made this point, right? And you probably already see it. Their constant propaganda about this is offensive to Jews and that's bad and this is evil and you guys are Jew haters and all these cries are causing, or it's encouraging people to point out, oh, look at the evil Jews. The ADL are evil. And so it's only encouraging more hatred of the people that they're pretending to try to defend. So they're enemies of those people. And they're encouraging other, it's a whole brainwashing scheme to brainwash them into, Jews in this case, into victimhood. Like the blacks have this brainwashing scheme, and the society at large, right? The liberals, the rhinos, kissing up to black victimhood. Oh, slavery was so awful. Yeah, right. I don't buy that. Wasn't ideal, but it's not as awful as abortion and mass violent black on black crime. Which would you rather have? I don't know. That's why that guy that got disavowed by Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity, and I like Sean Hannity, and I actually kind of like Glenn Beck a little, if I don't listen to him too much. That guy from the Clive and Bundy, he's like, I wonder, blacks were probably better off back in the slavery days. They were or under Jim Crow. They were working, they had their families together, they were moral, they were Christian, and now welfare, crime, victimhood, and mess, lies and anger. And that rose under the Obama administration. And that is a tactic of communism. Side note, just a side note. And then, I've heard, I was watching, I'm on Telegram a little bit. The Hake Report on Telegram. JLP Talk on Telegram as well. Follow us. It's cool. And I was watching this young Zoomer guy named Nick Fuentes talking about, he cringes at these Zoomers talking about communism. And his problem is with these conservatarians, as he calls them. And he makes a great point because there are a lot of so-called conservatives who have this libertarian mind. Oh, let's let the gays have their same-sex marriage and their adoption of children and pretend that they're valid parents, right? Meaning the homosexuals, two men adopting a kid like their own, or one of them having a kid with somebody else, and then the two males pretending that they're two fathers. And that's evil. And there's a whole lot of conservatives, including seemingly Trump sometimes, plays along with that stuff. Wrong. Not good. And so that is another evil. And I think that that's part of the breakdown from communism, but it's really a breakdown from evil. If we just break it down, it's not right versus left or men versus women, blacks versus whites, Jews versus goys. It's good versus evil, because evil can get into anybody. Anyways, I lost track of what I'm talking about, but let me get to Justin out of California. And we are going to open the treasure chest on D Live. And I'm going to read the rest, a bunch of diamonds and super chats, I think. So, oh yeah, no, I'll skip that. Healthcare workers, they're dumb. You can show pictures of these healthcare workers. I gave you enough photographs. You might as well show them, right?
You mean Mario Lopez?
Yeah.
And
There's this healthcare so-called worker dressed in scrubs, male nurse. And I know, okay, whatever. Men are decent nurses, I guess. But why would you want to be called a nurse if you're a male? It's a female thing. It's kind of like a male being called a virgin. It doesn't sound right, right? I mean, you don't want to have sex, right? But you don't want to be called a virgin either. But this guy, Hispanic looking, maybe Asian. You know, he looks healthy at least. That's cool, built. And then there's this Hispanic guy or whatever he is, black or something, in a Bulls jersey, pointing and trying to get out of the way. Because these guys I think this is Colorado. I reported a little bit about this last week. Protesting in Colorado and other different states saying, open up. And then these so-called nurses dressing up in their scrubs and their masks, standing in the way of the vehicles, acting like they're standing for sanity. And maybe both of them are honestly insane. I don't know. Or maybe both of them have their decent points, but it's just division and mess. And I don't like these snobby people, snobby, educated, liberal healthcare, so-called healthcare workers, thinking that they know better than the older, wiser people. And in some cases, maybe these people are a little foolhardy. Look at this white woman hanging out of the van saying, with the land of the free and a USA t-shirt. I mean, it's nice, whatever. But shouting at these dumb, young, educated nurses, including a male nurse, which to me, I would want to be called something else, even if I had the same role, rather than a nurse. Wouldn't you? And they're counter-protesting. You want to say something, Joel?
No, I was just going to say I wouldn't want to be called a nurse either.
How about a male nurse?
Or a nurse.
Right,
People
a
in the
nurse.
chat are saying nurse.
Oh, no.
No way.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't sound right. I would have to think of a new name, too.
And you know what? The Daily Mail is claiming that they're getting heckled, right? These healthcare workers are getting heckled. But they're putting themselves out there to heckle and be heckled. And they're silently heckling, right? They're standing in the way, pretending like they're from a position of authority. And, you know, I saw Mike Cernovich on Twitter, a journalist guy, friend of Jesse Lee Peterson, supporter, been on Jesse's show, and Jesse's gone to events to speak at his events. He says, guys, do me a favor, don't participate in these anti-lockdown rallies. They just feel weird to me. Mm-hmm. That's what he says. And I haven't looked into these things at all, but I kind of sympathize with people who want freedom to work. You know, I can kind of sympathize with that. Oh, gosh.
I was told, just a note, I was told that usually, because I was thinking, like, I wonder if back then, you know, nurses were ever males, because you know how teachers
Yeah.
back then were males,
Right.
and then now women are teachers now, but then they have taken over the name teacher. So when you think teacher, you almost think feminine.
Right.
So I thought, I wonder if males back then, and I asked somebody, and they were saying no, it's not. Males weren't.
They were
Males
the
usually
doctors.
became the doctors.
Yeah.
They didn't stop at nurse. They became the doctors.
Right.
And then the women were the nurse, which makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So
Nurse is a male purse.
you deserve the name nurse if you're a nurse.
You deserve to be heckled, male nurses. And there's probably male physician's assistant. Let's call him. I don't know. There's all kinds of different names for them, right? I know there's a lot of, let's call them so-called healthcare workers. It sounds like a politically correct term. In the chat, supporters, appreciate you guys. But anyways. And there's multiple cases of these nurses supposedly facing off. California banned protests on state property, by the way, up in Sacramento, I think. I think it's Sacramento. San Francisco begins closing streets. They should have closed them to the homeless a long time ago. What a mess, right? I got to open the treasure chest, and I got to get to Justin out of California. First-time caller. Justin, thanks for holding, man. Treasure chest is opening.
Hey, how you doing, Hank?
Fine. How are you?
Pretty good myself. I had a question. Hey, how do you like your separation from like the Jesse Show? Like separating from the Jesse Show? How do you like?
I
how you
really,
like that?
I really like it. You talking about not being on his stream?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. First of all, I mean, as just practically speaking, it's nice not to have to download his video, clip the last hour, and upload it to my show. It's already on. I mean, upload it to my channel. It's already on my channels, and so it's great.
Exactly. When do you think? Do you think you're gonna do like a full separation, like a number change, a studio change, and everything one day, or?
Maybe so. I can't really predict the future, and I'm not really making plans like that. Especially, I got a first step, baby steps, man. I got to step over to 2 hours, but first we have to get the thing right. So, yeah, maybe.
Exactly.
I'm not
Hey,
sure.
so what made you do that though? Was it like you're trying to just kind of separate so you can have your own identity, or was it?
It was, I don't know. I think it came up as a suggestion or how come you're not doing this? And then I was thinking about it, and then kind of off the cuff one day, I was like,
You
Joel,
got
switch
pushed out
over.
the house.
Yeah, push me out of the nest. Yeah, Joel, switch it over. And then I was so excited. I didn't know I was going to be that excited to be on my own channels. And it reminded me of when I moved out of my parents' house for the final time, because I moved out a few different times. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so nice.
Hey, how old are you?
38.
38.
Yep.
Hey, when did you first start like speaking up to people like black people?
I didn't know any black people, so I would say around 2013, 2014 when I started working here.
Hey, do you think you would honestly like speak up and say what you have to say in front of somebody, a black person like Deontay Wilder, like some like heavy, like big black mean looking? You know, Deontay Wilder is the heavyweight champion. Do you think you would really speak your mind to him, like on some
Boxer guy.
one-on-one type stuff?
Is that the guy who says, to this day?
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
I heard he's a nice guy. I don't know. I'd have to be in that situation. For sure, it's different. There is no question that it's different in a person-to-person situation than it is over the phone or on radio or whatever. It would be a totally different situation. So I don't know, man.
Deal with it?
What's that?
Have you ever had to deal with it, like in a situation that you
A
were
little
more
bit.
so scared of?
Not that
Not
I'm
scared
scared
of,
of,
but,
but
like-
you know, like there was this guy who came at Politicon, one of the early, probably the first year that they had Politicon. It was in Los Angeles at the convention center, and there was this black liberal guy who, a Young Turks fan. You know the Young Turks and the far left. And like I started debating with him a little bit, and then I eventually invited him on Jesse's show. And so like there every now and then, like at protests, I love mixing it up with the people. And then like some of the people playing their loud rap song, F Donald Trump. I'm like, Trump loves you. But, they're far enough away that they can't hit me. But I'm saying Trump loves you, so what are they going to do, hit me for saying somebody loves them? No, I don't think so.
No, but yeah, somebody super aggressive probably would. And so
Yeah, you
got to
be wise. What's that?
You never been in any type of confrontation because of the words that you speak on this level?
Not from this stuff, yeah. I haven't been in any physical confrontation, at least not at this point. We've had some weirdos that do some strange things showing up to church. We throw them out pretty quickly. There's one guy, he had made it to get a job, and just nutcases, mentally ill people. But he wasn't black, he was Hispanic. But he was like openly about being possessed. He said he was possessed.
Yeah, that's weird. Got to get that out of here.
Right.
So do you get into it with your family often, like about the things that you say?
I don't talk much with my family, but a little bit. My dad, my family is pretty conservative, but I found out that I'm maybe more conservative than them in some cases. But a little, yeah. I do question them. I questioned my parents about a disagreement that I had with them, and that was interesting. It was fun.
Because because I'm black, he black.
Right.
I get into it with a lot of my friends, like as far as like the things that I speak of.
Right.
Because of course they're not conservative; they didn't grow up that way. But with you know how white people usually is scared today.
Right.
Like your parents didn't go down the same route of being scared for you, kind of. Like even though they're conservative, do they keep it a secret like most white people?
They're pretty quiet. They're pretty quiet about it. Like I think my dad's more conservative than my mom. In fact, I know so. And
are they scared for you?
No, not that I know of. Because by the time I started working for Jesse, I was almost 30 or maybe 30 something, and it was long gone. And fortunately, my dad is like a hands-off type of father. Even when I was growing up, he was generally hands-off, which I appreciated. Whereas my mother would sometimes.
Why'd you say unfortunately then? Unfortunately.
I meant fortunately. I think what I said was and fortunately, not unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I loved that my dad was hands off, and that's how men tend to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kind of like these authorities. Trump he disagrees supposedly with the Georgia Republican governor opening up nail shops and barbershops
But let them do what they want.
Yeah. Hands off. I disagree, but go for it. I trust you. You're a capable man, right? So that's a good way to do it. Justin, I'm way over time. We were teasing into the second hour. Appreciate hearing from you. It's nice talking with you.
All right. Thank you for taking my call. Tell Joel I said what's up, and Nick.
I will.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Take care. Let me read a few of the super chats. Mo Betta Jankum gave a diamond and said, now we got the Hake Report, la la la. And he says, I would help Hake if he got into a fight in my hood. And he says, sometimes Mario puts something somewhere where it doesn't belong and spreads the virus. Stay away from Mario Lopez. Looking something. Injector. Earl, you big dummy, call in and get yo sermon. Yeah, people miss Earl from Michigan. How you doing, Earl? Call in, check in tomorrow, all right? I want to hear from you. Just make sure you're fine. Earl, park that dog, catch a truck, and call in. That's Mo Betta Jankum with a bunch of diamonds. Thank you, man. And he says, LOL, Earl once ruled Michigan. Polly J with a diamond, that's racist, says, agree, Christian talk is a big turnoff. Live it, yeah. And Mo Betta Jankum, where Earl from Detroit at? Park the dog catcher truck. All right. Let me just double check the super chats on these side. Lord Nikon says, COVID-19 is fake. Everyone, quote unquote, dying from it is morbidly obese and old. Reopen the country. I don't know, but appreciate the super chat, Lord Nikon. And I agree with the sentiment, reopen the country, man. Red Green Show, Louis the 17th, more like G.A. Bocois. I don't know if I butchered that super chat. Jib Jab says, get a job, Savage Moments, part 56 is up. Nice. Right on. And thank you to Buddy Von Sigret, Mo Betta Jankum, that's racist. Bubs Love, what's up, man? Polly J, Hot Computer Smell, Paramedic, Flo Shinsky, D Wise, and Tony Castle, man. Right on. All right, guys. We will see you soon. And hopefully you're hearing this. I think so, right? Yeah. Okay. TheHakeReport.com for my stuff, JLPTalk.com for Jesse's stuff, and TheFallenState.tv tomorrow for that interview with Stefan Molyneux. Right on, guys. Take care.